Everybody, Matt Geary here for the Geek Pridecast on this Monday evening. With me tonight, no guest, but my co-hosts, Peter Ray Allison.
Good evening, everyone.
And Jon Jo Cosgrove.
Hello, everybody, on this lovely Monday.
We don't get to see the wonder that is Jon Jo tonight.
You get the cartoon me tonight, which is basically Ricky Gervais. So,
what do you mean? It's basically Ricky Gervais. It is Ricky Gervais.
That is the Ricky from the Ricky Gervais cartoon that came out a few years ago. Someone said to me, "Oh, that looks so much like you if you were a cartoon." And I thought, "Fuck it, I'm going to use it then." And I've used it on so many things, and I've never been pulled up on it by Ricky Gervais or HBO, so I think I'm good.
Yeah, so we don't have much to talk about this evening because Jon Jo and Pete have talked about it all before the podcast. So we can't really.
We'll see you next week, guys.
That's the quickest podcast ever. Okay, gents. So Jon Jo, especially because we've not seen you for a bit. What are you being up to? What's going on?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Especially today, I've had a massive catch up on. I had a day off work, so I've had to catch up on all the shows that I've been lacking on. So I finally caught up on the Rings of Power, which is a bit so. I think at the moment I'm still.
Are you on episode 5?
Yeah, I've just watched episode 5, so I quite enjoyed episode 5. Pretty good. And then I've also just finished watching the 3-episode premiere of Andor, and after watching that, I can honestly see why they done it as a 3-episode premiere, because that 3rd episode was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm
assuming it's because I've not watched it yet, but by all means you can talk about it and stuff. I've not seen it yet, but anybody else who hasn't seen it and doesn't want it spoiled, then you can close your ears. Actually, in fact, we'll talk about that later because I kind of want to talk about the Rings of Power first, and then we'll talk about that. But just my question about Andor is, is it a bit of a slow start? Is that why they need the 3 up?
Slow burn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the first episode in particular is very much plodding. It's very it's obviously a slow build up to what you're going to get in the story. I mean, the action in the first 10 minutes is really good, but then from that point it does take a little bit of a stroll.
It almost becomes a police procedural. Yeah,
and then episode 2 is kind of the same, but then episode 3 just wow, it just kicks off, and without spoiling anything, it is definitely action packed from beginning to end.
Okay, well, we'll do Rings of Power after. I'll have to remember and stuff because me and Pete had a chat about it last week and stuff, but we'll talk about it afterwards. So Andor, obviously, if you've not watched it and you don't want it ruined for you, then close thy ears. I haven't seen it, but I know what happens at the end, because if you've seen Rogue One.
To be fair, though, you know what happens at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Because you've seen New Hope.
Yeah. That's true. You do. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I'm not sort of super precious about it. I will enjoy it. To be honest, when it comes to spoilers, I'm not as arsey about them as maybe some people can be and stuff. Like, if somebody ruins something for me, like there's certain things in Game of Thrones and stuff like that where I've had it ruined for me. I'm like, all right, okay, that's slightly annoying, but I'm not too I don't get too much rage about it and stuff. But yeah, I'm assuming the first 3 episodes there's no massive big sort of like things happening. It's just the build up to the story about who he is, why he's doing it.
Well, when Darth Vader comes leaping from the sky, followed by it's very grounded. It's a very gritty, blue-collar, almost alien-esque vision of the Star Wars universe, very much akin to Rogue One in that regard. And there's no Jedi.
That's what made Rogue One great, because it was just like it was just a war film.
However, I would say one thing about Rogue One is they do have references to the Force peppered throughout it as a religion rather than as a mystical ability. But here in Andor, no mention of it. Like, it's just somewhere else. It's not a part of this sector of the galaxy. It's just not part of it.
and also as well, this show, it feels a bit darker compared to other Star Wars material. Some of the locations, some of the settings, they feel a bit more, for a lack of a better term, a bit more adult compared to the Star Wars that we may have been used to. You know, all these bright colours and everything. This does feel more underground. This feels very. It feels like it's almost like serving that more. It is serving that more adult orientated, and there's a little bit more language as well compared to other Star Wars outings, especially in the late episode 3. There is at least 3 expletives, which is quite different for us.
Yeah, it's very much a kind of grounded, realistic take on what would it be like to live in an exploitative bureaucracy that the Empire is. And there's no stormtroopers for the first 3 episodes.
No stormtroopers,
which is very strange. It's
but
like
it makes sense. It makes perfect sense when you think about it, because the Empire, as glow spanning as they are, still have, you know, only finite resources. So they have to kind of, I'm not going into too much, privatize their security and control.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah. Okay. So feel of the sort of look and feel, is it sort of familiar but different? How does it sort of?
Oh, definitely. You definitely know this is Star Wars without any question. Especially when you get your spaceships, you get your, you know, when you see the ships coming in from light speed, you know, it's got that Star Wars aesthetic through and through. And with Cassian Andor, he is really your only anchor from Rogue One, which is quite good. And I think going into it, the first episode, I was really thinking, what are they really going to do with this character? This character has only had one real appearance in the Star Wars canon. How are they going to expand it? How are they going to build a good prequel story? And how are they going to, you know, make this last what will be 24 episodes? And, you know, by the end of episode 3, I'm pretty much convinced now to go, yeah, I think they're doing a good job. And I reckon...
How long is each episode?
Probably...
About an hour long.
About 40 minutes.
Jon Jo will say one thing in regards to Kombat. Boba Fett had 5 minutes in Empire Strikes Back and was killed at the end of Return of the Jedi. And there's been mountains of kind of stories and a 7-episode TV show about it. It's basically you create a sufficiently enticing character that the audience are interested in, and you can just kind of expand any story you want from it, to be fair.
I think that's a good argument.
What I quite like about him is from Rogue One is the grey area that he sort of occupied. It was his admission that, you know, he did stuff that he wasn't proud of and stuff. He did things that sort of, you know, aren't what good people would do, and I sort of like that.
Yeah, he's definitely no angel. He's definitely no angel.
Yeah, so it's basically the greater. It's sort of for me. Rogue One was what made the rebellion real. What sort of I always got about, you know, when you watch all the Star Wars films, the rebellion are, you know, they're the good guys. They are as white as white. They are sort of, you know, no stains to their character, bar the odd sort of kind of treacherous thing now and again. The rebellion, you know, the rebels are sort of, you know, I would assume what sort of kind of like, I don't know, like America might see itself during the War of Independence or something. Like it's like it was purely sort of kind of white as white, no sort of kind of there's no dark area to it. Where Andor and Rogue One, and why I love Rogue One so much, is because they gave it a darker edge, which made it more real. It made it more sort of, you know, that I can understand that as a rebellion, you know, fine, you're not as good as you maybe portray yourself as the propaganda that would be the you know, the sort of kind of the original trilogy would sort of kind of dictate, but there is darkness there, but you've had to do that to get to where you are, and I love that. I think that angle alone.
I think it's the Andor TV series will kind of continue exploring that themes and subject quite in depth. As I understand, Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera will be making an appearance later in the show, but the first 3 episodes of Andor are purely for essentially a character study on Andor, and basically why does he join the rebellion? What is his? It's basically a recruitment campaign. The first 3 episodes is like how he's recruited, and how he does it is just done really well. And it's a very slow build. You can just see he gets his life. He finds where he is, his needs, his wants, and it's just done told really well. It's very much shown without telling you. You just have to watch it, pay attention, and the answers will be there.
See, there's one thing that I've always wanted them to do, and is do a film or a series from the angle of the Empire. And I know I appreciate, like, you've literally got 9 films and numerous sort of kind of spin-offs that sort of kind of portray the Empire as the almighty evil and stuff. But I like there's a fan film, and I've mentioned this in podcasts before, but there was one, and it's a fan film, but it's on the side of some stormtroopers, and basically the reason why they signed up, because they were people like Andor and stuff killed their families, or their sort of families were killed, and so they joined the Empire to sort of get back at the sort of terrorists. And it's all about sort of like, you got this girl and guy who sort of grew up together, and then she goes off and disappears. I think his family gets killed, and then he joins the Empire as a stormtrooper, and then at the end there's like the fight between both of them because she joins the rebellion. And I kind of like that sort of other edge, because at the end he isn't sorry for what he does, because it's like, you killed my family, the Empire effectively let me get back, get some revenge, get some sort of kind of closure on this and stuff. And I like that angle. I like that sort of thing, because it's like that whole thing about, like they're doing Clerks, where it's like, the second Death Star was probably filled with, contractors, and sort of, there's no way it was all pure.
I suspect you'll see some of that as this story goes on, because you are introduced to some characters that you can see fitting very well within the Empire, but they're not part of the Empire yet. They're just kind of doing their jobs, going about their day, fulfilling their duty and wanting to do it well. Yeah. And you kind of slowly introduced to it, and you can see how, especially in Andor, why joining the Empire would be a good thing. Why crushing dissent against? Why kind of stopping criminal activities that kill and maim people? Why you would want to do that?
Yeah, I think it's just good. It's a good angle, because once you've got through that trope of good versus evil, constantly, and it's like, as much as it's enjoyable and things like that, it's good to have a bit more gray. It's like we were talking about the new Batman film before we came on and stuff, where you were saying about Patterson and how you haven't seen the Batman because you watch Tenet, and then you realize how he's really good, and so,
he's incredible in Tenet. I mean, I've just been watching it recently on Amazon Prime. I've not seen it yet, and I'm literally like, what's Jen thinking? It's an incredible film. I mean, absolutely love it. It's a very much a cerebral, action film. I mean, you can't just switch your mind off to it. You have to watch it and pay attention and take notes, because if you don't, you will get lost with all within the plot. But it's really well done. I mean, the protagonist is great, but for me, the character that stands out is Neil, played by Robert Patterson. Now, the only thing I've known of him in was Twilight, and I thought, I'll
tell you what, you should watch The Lighthouse, because he is in that with Willem Dafoe, and that is such a good movie.
Yeah, he is. Like, I was the same. I was the same. Like, I was like, Twilight, no, there's no way I'm gonna sort of. And I was like, I had zero interest. But again, I saw him in Tenet. I saw him in what else did I see him in? I can't remember. I saw him in something else. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this guy a chance as Batman, and he's really good. And the whole point was that it's a darker edge to. It's not just like an honorable guy. He is a sort of good guy, but he's got this sort of kind of emo-ish dark edge to him and stuff, and that's what I kind of like. You know, you need that sort of, bringing it back to Star Wars, you need that sort of other side to the proverbial coin, and that gives you so much more material. Like, just think, you know, the amount of stuff you could have, like Star Wars, I don't know what they could call it, Star Wars noir or something like that, you know, where you have this sort of like, you know, the other side of the coin, you know, the way Marvel have the what ifs and things like this, where you could have a Star Wars thing. It's like, you're not a what if, but you could have, like, you know, from the view of this planet or these people, or, you know, you could do loads of things, and it's just sort of like, you know, it's an untapped gold mine, I'd say, of material there. And currently, the only people who are using it are YouTube shorts creators and stuff. And it's something I think they should definitely look at and stuff. It's just like the one thing that I think they can't do, which is a shame, because I always quite liked the I can't remember their name now. There's basically, after the Empire gets beaten by the rebellion, what are they called? The Yvonne Bach, what are they called? Basically, force sensitive aliens that invade afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Yvonne.
Where where the Empire and the Republic team up to take on these invading aliens.
We've talked about this before. I always Google its name. Can't find. Vok. Let me see.
I do have a certain memory of this, but I can't recall it off the top of my head. I was just going to say, because you were talking about Batman, the Batman with Andor, there is a nice little link actually between the two. There is an actor called Alex Ferns who appears in both the Batman, because he plays the Commissioner, Commissioner Pete Savage, who is at the beginning. He also plays Sergeant Mosk in this one, who is the even though there is no Irish, Scottish or anything like that, but he is basically the Irish part of the squadron that is going up against Andor, and I think he's a fantastic actor. And to see him in two quite prominent roles this year is fantastic. But yeah, have a look out for him.
The Yuuzhan Vong War. I always do this every time. I always forget what it's. The Yuuzhan Vong, and that is that would have been such a good place to go, because it's a lot darker. There's a lot more going on. It's basically shows that as much as the Empire wasn't sort of a good thing, it wasn't a super bad thing either, because the Death Star was created to prevent the Yuuzhan Vong from invading, and when they destroyed these Death Stars, it basically opened up the gate for them to invade, and then caused another war, which was 100 times more apocalyptic than the Galactic War and stuff, and millions billions died in that war that came on and stuff. So as much as they were bad, they were causing the defense of the and it was just one of those things. I kind of like that sort of other edge to it. I think that's something would have been quite good.
Yeah. Do you guys ever play the Battlefront 2 game from a few years ago?
Yeah.
Because there was a storyline in that which sort of takes place after Return of the Jedi, just after the second Death Star's been destroyed, and you've got some members of the Empire who are now struggling to find their path, and they are sort of trying to continue the work of the Empire. And then you get half the game where they're still on the dark side, they're still fighting for what they believe in, and then as time goes on, they then start to more or less become part of the resistance. They then it's quite a good the game itself was very hit and miss, but I thought that was quite a good story angle, because it was nice to see that kind of story arc. But Do you know what? I reckon we are going to get stories like this going forwards, because I think Star Wars is going to focus a lot more. I mean, come on, the film slate keeps getting pushed back. I don't even know when the next film, because we were supposed to have the Rogue Squadrons.
It's been cancelled. Apparently, Rogue Squadron. I think Rogue has been cancelled.
Yeah.
There's no Rogue Squadron anymore.
Yeah. So now it's supposed to be the Taika Waititi one. I think at the end of 2025. So
what's that one going to be?
Well, it's one of two things. I've heard one thing saying it was going to be part of the High Republic, which could be good if they go with that, or they might be retooling and going for episode 10 instead. But personally, for me, I reckon go forward. That's fine for me. But I don't want them to be anything associated with Skywalker Saga. I want them to go like, hundreds of years in the future. I want them to just give it a whole new setting,
if they went
whole new path.
If they went to the sort of like Old Republic, the Old Republic and stuff, I think they, with the Sith Empire and things like that, thousands of years in the sort of kind of in the past, I think, there's a lot of stuff there they could use and go off. If they go forward, it feels a bit more like they're trying to milk what they already have and stuff. So
I don't know about that. I mean, it's more story.
I was just gonna say, if we look at going forward, you can basically do anything. Then you've got the potential for whatever you want. Going backwards from the Skywalker saga, you are going to be almost limited because you still have to go within that confines of what's to come afterwards. But going forward, you can do but if you practically anything.
I know, I understand that, but if you're going that far back into like the Old Republic and things, you're talking like thousands of years, and a lot of sort of good story which they could sort of backfill and stuff, and it's like at least there is some sort of.
I would like a new story. We've experienced the stories in the Old Republic, and it has been a setting that has been really delved into. But going forward, telling new stories based on the sequel trilogy, and following on from there, that offers a lot of like intriguing setting ideas. Like, what happens to the Jedi Temple? What happened to it? What happens to we could even have the if Billy Dillon was willing to return, the Lando Calrissian film that we've always been wanting. There's lots of stories to tell in the Star Wars industry going forward, and that's what I want to say. I want to see more Star Wars. So where do we go for me? This, the Empire. I mean, you got the fragment. Even though the Emperor is dead, you still got the fragments of the Empire still out there. What's going to happen to them?
And that's the thing. You don't even have to have the Sith. You can come up with a whole new entity. I mean, the High Republic novels are focused on the Nihil, which they're fantastic villains, and they're still properly grounded in evil, and they do really have such a presence that shatters the galaxy. But they're not Sith. They're not got that kind of power to them. And I reckon if we had something like that for a sequel film, whatever we get beyond episode 9, I reckon it'd be good. We need some kind of progression, but also we need something that's gonna, like you say, we need to see what happens next with the Jedi as well. Are we going to get a new round of Jedi, or are we going to get the Gray Jedi, which we've been having teased for God knows how long? It'd be nice to have.
Yeah, just look at the Mandalorian and what's that done with the the sequel trilogy. Well, because that's after Return of Jedi and
no, Mandalorian's between Empire and Jedi.
Oh, is it? Sorry, my mistake.
So it's not after.
No, it's after Return of the Jedi. It's 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes. Why do you think that Luke Skywalker is already going around? Garb
of course, yeah, you're right, because he's in his black and he's got his green lightsaber. What am I talking about? Oh God, I feel that's embarrassing. That's very embarrassing.
That's after that's between the original and sequel trilogy, and that's telling some incredibly good stories. I mean, the entire episode of the final episode of the second season. It's just that could be a film that easily could have been done as a film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Mandalorian was meant to be kind of what it was kind of meant to be Boba Fett, but by a different name. And then they went, "Oh, we'll just do Boba Fett," and it's like he didn't. I didn't really feel like he lived up to what I thought. I didn't hate it, but I just didn't really.
It's very telling that the best episodes in the Book of Boba Fett is the one where Boba Fett is not in it.
Yeah, I felt like it was like the Mandalorian featuring Boba Fett. He just did cameos in his own series.
But if you look at I think it was episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett. You didn't have Boba Fett in the episode at all, but you had Mando. You had Grogu, you had Luke Skywalker, you had Ahsoka Tano. This is like basically you've got your other shows that you've got set up in this part of the Star Wars universe, but instead you're basically doing a backdoor pilot for all of these almost in this episode. Well, you've got the Ahsoka series that's coming, and I reckon someone was saying the other day that they want to try and incorporate Luke Skywalker into another one of these shows, which is good, but imagine how much that must cost to get this actor, superimpose Mark Hamill's 30-year-old face onto this actor. It's and using the same vocal technology that's been recently used for James Earl Jones to recreate his voice. Yeah,
I mean, when I watched that episode, I was thinking, am I right? Am I watching the right episode? Am I just watching the conclusion? Like, has this been uploaded on Disney Plus by mistake? No, it was just the way they wrote it. And I would actually like to watch a Jedi Temple trilogy. Focus a film on the Jedi Temple and the politics there and the Jedi are Jedi, but they're human.
Yeah.
And kind of trying to balance the human needs with the fact of trying to become a Jedi.
But I don't know if that's because of the films, and you've got 9 films that orientate around the struggles of Jedi effectively. I'm not sure if you'd don't get me wrong, when Luke Skywalker turns up in Mandalorian and things like that, it's like, oh my god, it's like Luke Skywalker and stuff. But I'm not sure I would want, like, my favorite Star Wars films. I actually really enjoy Solo because it's not really Jedi orientated. I really enjoyed Rogue One because it's not really Jedi orientated at all. And as much as I love the Star Wars films, I kind of like seeing the other part of it. I like seeing the other things that can happen and stuff. And I would kind of like to see a republic that now has responsibility for the galaxy and the struggles that they have to still be the good guys in a place where things aren't so sort of maybe black and white and stuff. So they're going to be in areas where they have to sort of keep order and, they're not appreciated maybe as much as sort of they thought they would be and stuff like that. I kind of like those angles and stuff.
Yeah. For me, I wouldn't want a film about the Jedi where it's just like all flashing lightsabers and like slaying down all the Sith and yay, we win. I'd want where it's a philosophical debate about the nuances of the Force and how inaction versus action. If I go and help someone, am I just enabling them?
I guess
do I stand? So something like that where it's actually, what does it mean to be a Jedi?
I guess you could, like, tying in what Jon Jo said about the Gray Jedi and stuff, you could have a series that is it's basically about the Jedi as they are, sort of, do and do not, there is no try, and everything is very much an absolute. It's like you do something or you do not, or you have very strict codes about doing things. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. But you would have maybe, Luke Skywalker and stuff, who's used who's used like force chokes, and he's used sort of like things sort of he probably shouldn't have to, show that maybe there is a grayer area to it and stuff. So the Gray Jedi wise, where you basically you bring balance to the Force by balancing it within yourself. So it's not all about using the light side. It's not all about using the dark side. It's about balancing it between you because.
I'm just thinking what I would like to see is, even if it was for the majority of the film, like you say, you've got Jedi that are almost like policing the universe. So, if they see that, there's a potential Sith or potential evil that's growing, they literally 5 minutes, they've taken it out, it's done. But then if they see something on the other side, which may be affecting their balance, they take care of that as well. And it'd be nice to see, for lack of, I'm trying to think of like another term that could really work for it, but I'll go with one of my favorite examples, Mortal Kombat. You have the Elder Gods, they are not supposed to interfere. They're supposed to more or less keep a balance and keep things fair across all realms. That's what I'd like to see with Gray Jedi. I'd like to see them sort of like, they'll only intervene if they have to, but they're just trying to keep an equilibrium across everything they can.
Who the Gray Jedi are trying to keep equilibrium.
Well, almost, yeah. And I think, could you imagine if we go forward maybe, just for example, we go 1,000 years after the Rise of Skywalker, and you haven't just got a few Jedi, you've got millions of Jedi, So every planet, every system is inhabited with many Jedi who are able to communicate with each other. They can, they all know what the universe should be like. And then something happens, you get some Jedi that break off from that teachings. I don't know, maybe they find the old Jedi text and they think, okay, maybe the light side is the way that we should go. And then you might have some that think, okay, to the extreme to fight off these good Jedi, they then take on the teachings, from the Sith or from the Nihil or from any of these other threats that have come from the thousands of years of Jedi Star Wars history. We need something different. We need something.
Yeah, I mean,
we need something that's really.
I've enjoyed the Jedi when the Jedi absolutes come against real life, and the fact that real life does not deal in absolutes. There's, as Matt says, is like there's lots of grey areas, and once I see that, just like the interaction of those two of real life and Jedi, and how the Jedi code as it stands isn't really that practical for day-to-day living. I mean, I've always enjoyed Star Wars Rebels, when Kanan was teaching Ezra the Force, and Ezra was trying to apply real-world experiences to the Jedi code and was really struggling because it's not practical. And one of my favorite characters in Kenobi was actually the guy pretending to be a Jedi.
Oh, right, yeah. What's his name? The comedian.
I really wanted to see one of the Inquisitors fighting against that con artist, where he was using where the Inquisitor would be using Sith Force powers, and the conman was defending himself using the magnets. that might have been quite interesting to kind of saw, and completely throwing the Sith going, hang on, how is he doing all that? And the guy's got to going, magnets.
You could have not like a policing series, but you could have a sort of Illuminati type thing where the Gray Jedi are trying to balance both sides, and neither side is aware of their interference with certain things and stuff. So you've got, if the Jedi are looking like they're going to overthrow the Sith or something, they're going to basically end what is balance, then the Gray Jedi intervene and do something to sort of kind of prevent that, and vice versa. If the dark side is becoming too strong, then they do side, and the interactions between both of them. Or maybe you have a character whose job it is to sort of balance that out, that sort of and how he interacts with both sides, and that would be quite a cool sort of angle, I think.
Yeah, I think so. We've just been talking about this for half an hour, so there's definitely stories you could still tell within the Star Wars universe going forward, because there's a lot of unexplored depths that are stories that are waiting to be told.
I'm just slightly worried about Taika Waititi's film, only because, as much as I love Jojo Rabbit, I love Thor Ragnarok, but I love, obviously,
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah. It's sort of, I don't sort of, it's just Thor, Love and Thunder. I really sort of made me kind of go, and I kind of hope he doesn't kind of go over it, because I think he realizes that people like his sense of humor, and the way he's a bit random and stuff. And I think they overdid it with Love and Thunder, and I would hate him to kind of do that with this, go into a Star Wars film and over cheese it, because with Love and Thunder they took the edge off it. What's his name? He was the bad guy God, what's his name? He was the main bad guy. Gore, yeah. He was a great character whose position was killed by unnecessary comedy and stuff. So you took what was some really good sort of depth from him, because they were just throwing in these really sort of kind of random sort of like comedy things going on, and I don't want that to happen, because you need that edge to sort of kind of make something sort of.
I'll tell you one of the best examples for this, because after Thor Ragnarok, they very much said to Taika Waititi, you know what you're doing. We'll leave you basically the reins. You put together the film that you want. They did, and don't get me wrong, sometimes that works really well. A single vision can do wonders for a movie. But if you think back to after Wonder Woman came out, because Wonder Woman was a great movie, then you had Wonder Woman 1984, which was Patty Jenkins basically being given full control. And let's be fair, that film is not great. There is a hell of a lot of problems with that second Wonder Woman film. Don't get me wrong, it's fun. It's cheesy fun, but apart from that, there's very little about it that really made me think I really want to watch this. And you look at the cast in that movie as well; they absolutely waste Pedro Pascal, which is a pain to see. They really just make him like fodder. He's just like, spout some exposition about a box. Yep, done. Yep, chuck him out. Next. Oh, Kristen Wiig. Oh, we put her in terrible CGI. Yep, fuck her. She's gone there. Next. It's like it was. Yeah. It was awful, but I don't think we're gonna have many. I think what Marvel are doing now, Marvel's doing a very like test the waters kind of thing. If you look at their projects like Pete was saying earlier, Marvel are they're expanding. They're trying to test different genres, different areas to see what works, and with that you're trying with different people. Before we spoke about the future slate of films that are coming up, because they've already announced because it's only 2025 when we get the next two Avengers films. They've already announced that it's Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi. He's going to be director for Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, and I'm looking forward to that as a vision. I think that's going to be really good. And if what I'm hearing is correct, Secret Wars, we're going to have another Marvel alum who's going to be taken over. Someone who apparently did do really well. What I'm hearing is John Watts, who made the Spider-Man trilogy, could potentially be doing that. And I think, there's some safe pair of hands. And I think they're ones who, won't go overboard in one direction or another. I think they are very good at telling balanced stories. And, just look at Spider-Man No Way Home.
But back to the Star Wars thing, do you think Taika Waititi could sort of go overboard with? I think. Unfortunately, unlike some of these directors, Taika Waititi, I think his comedy works, but he has to have someone that sort of keeps him in reality. Just goes, well, okay, look, yep, that's good, yep, that's fine, but dial it back a bit. I think if he's got someone like that, if he's got a
a handy co-writer or co-producer who can, keep them on level, I reckon it will work. Because I think that's where, when he's in collaboration, when he's willing to do a bit of give and take, I think that's when he's at his strongest. If he can do that with Star Wars, great. If he doesn't, you've got another Thor: Love and Thunder, which, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed that film, but I know it has a lot of problems in that movie.
Yeah, I just don't want loads of I've got a bad feeling about this, waka waka waka, sort of. Yeah. Just
it could very easily become an absolute farce.
Jar Jar Binks, that's what it's going to be.
Instead of Star Wars music, you got AC/DC playing over some sort of things and stuff.
I'd have no problem with that.
Yeah. I love. Don't get me wrong, his soundtracks are always great, but with Star Wars, you're talking about something pretty sacred to a lot of people, and you got to be careful. As much as there is comedy within it, it's nuanced, and there has to be a sort of darker edge to it and stuff. And if he just comes flying in with that's a rock paper scissors joke, and you're just like, all right, that would have been funny in something else, but this is not funny in Star Wars.
I don't think you can have that in Star Wars though, because I think whereas Marvel is kind of, it is almost grounded to a universe that Star Wars is a completely different thing. I don't think
it's a universe long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's explicitly not here.
Yeah, can you imagine that one of them opens up the cabinet and goes, "Oh, look at this, guys! I found some Iron Maiden records. What's a record? I don't know, but let's see if we can play it." I don't think we're going to have that.
No, because you can't have that, because it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far, far away. They'd have to time travel. We'd have to get to the present where they find Earth, and they find Earth.
Now we're talking about Star Galactica.
Yeah.
Joe, I can't get over you going, "Hey, waka waka." That's done me, I think, for the rest of the evening.
But it is. It's just it's like there is comedy in Star Wars to a point, but it's not.
It's not explicit. It's more humor in the moment. Just look at Han Solo's commentary, where he's kind of when they're freeing Leia from the prison cell in A New Hope, and he goes, "Oh yeah, weapons fire, yeah, don't worry about." And he goes, "Oh, no, we've had a reactor breach, you can't come in." And he goes, "Who is this? What's your number?" And Hans goes, conversation anyway. That is funny, but it's not comedic.
Yeah. There has to be. And the thing about Taika Waititi is, I could see if it's not if it was an Outer Rim sort of thing, and you had some sort of completely unrelated sort of thing to the Empire and to Jedi and stuff. You just got some I don't know, you've got some bounty hunters and stuff like that. You could sort of maybe do something like that, but it's just, I don't want him to go over the top. I really enjoy his films, but I just don't want him to over ham it up, basically.
But then again, he has directed a couple of episodes of Mandalorian as well, so
I suppose he did, true, and he played.
He did play one of he played IG-88. I think,
IG-88. Yeah. He did. Yeah, he did. But that obviously sort of within certain, you would have had certain guidelines probably. Jon Favreau's kind of gone sort of this is this and stuff, and so that's great. But if he's on his own, he's let off the list like that. Don't get me wrong. Jojo Rabbit is it's comical, but it's sort of there's an edge to it as well and stuff. So the way the comedy goes and stuff, it's just just the whole thing with Hitler and stuff. It's just hilarious.
Oh yeah, just 20 times in a row they're going Heil Hitler.
It's just ridiculous. But it's sort of it is in it. There's a darker edge to it, so I can kind of that's all right, because it's not it's kind of dark comedy in a way.
And this harkens back to something Terry Pratchett once said, which is you can be funny and serious at the same time. The opposite of funny is to be unfunny. The opposite of serious is to be unserious. So you can be funny and serious at the same time. It's just when it becomes explicitly funny and overrides everything else, that's when it just when it feels disconcerting and out of place.
Yeah, well, I think long story short is there's a lot of material that they can go with and stuff. I'm assuming they're going to milk that cash cow for a very long time. So,
Well, given how much Disney paid for Star Wars, yes.
yeah, so I think they're going to milk that one for a while. My sort of last comment on it and stuff is that Star Wars back in the day was something that was, comic books or was the films and stuff like that. There wasn't as much. Now there's series all over the place. There's animated series, there's new films, there's books, there's everything. There's so much of it. It feels like it might be slightly oversaturate, and I kind of no.
I think well, put it this way, if they can do it with Marvel, why can't they do it with Star Wars, really? As long as you can tell good stories, you can do as much as you want.
Yeah, they're not kind of sticking in the same genre. If you look at like the Star Wars TV shows, you've got like the Western drama, which is the Mandalorian. You've got, the mystic, magical one, which is Kenobi. You've got and now you've got the grounded.
It's like a thriller,
war
really.
Film. Yeah, a grounded thriller, which is Andor. They're experimenting and they're kind of seeing what stories they can tell, and I'm all for it. And also, you've got like kids show. You got the kids show. Is it Rebellion?
Oh, Bad Batch.
Well, not. I wouldn't say that's really a kids show. I'm thinking more like that very much anime inspired.
Oh, I know one. Yeah, Rebellion. That was the one set between 7 and 8, I think. Yeah,
Rebellion. That was very a child focused story with a very kind of interesting anime style art to it, and that was really well done. And you've also got the Fantastic Rebels, and also the Star Wars Clone Wars.
I started watching Clone Wars and just couldn't. I got into series 2, and I wasn't really getting gripped by it and stuff, so I kind of stopped watching it. I've been told I just have to give it a bit more time and stuff, so I'll go back to it.
I'm reliably informed. I mean, this is something Geek Prize Laura Benson tells us, is that it's a series you get better as it goes on. And I mean, I got to about season 3 and I just stopped watching it because it was getting very repetitive, because they're sticking to the 20 episode per season structure, which was working against it, because they were just padding out the stories with the same thing again and again and again. And it just became a bit of a chore. Now, I am tempted to skip a lot of seasons and just watch like the recent final season. I'll probably miss some nuances to it, but I'm going to save a lot of time. And completely going off a tangent, and forgive me for this, is I've been watching Cobra Kai.
Oh, so good. So good.
I am going to get lambasted by everyone here, so please be aware from me, is I only watched the last 2 or 3 episodes per season, and I just cut out all that needless relationship drama, go straight to the kind of climax, and then it's done. So
no.
I watched the first season, and I think I watched the second one of Cobra Kai, and I just found all that kind of build up of tension.
It's not even that there's many episodes. There's only 8. There's only 10 episodes of it. Yeah,
it's Cobra Kai. It's like the Karate Kid 90210.
No, like Cobra Kai is a series that keeps on giving, because it's not there. It's something that you would think was a series that would get old very fast, but the way they're sort of being able to sort of bring out the rivalries and bring out bad guys. What's his name? Who was the most recent bad guy?
John Silver.
Yeah, John Silver. He, having him and then bringing in old guys, from the films and stuff. He had his old girlfriend. He had his old girlfriend from 3. Apparently, obviously, they might bring in the girl from Karate Kid 4 at one point in time, and sort of like that sort of thing's great, and the build up is like that tension and how.
It's just needless, though.
You think Hilary Swank's going to be in Cobra Kai? Because it was Hilary Swank that was in Karate Kid 4.
Was she the Karate Kid?
Yeah, I'm sure it was Hilary
Yeah.
Swank. I've got to look it up now, but I'm 99% sure it was her.
Yeah, I understand that, but I can watch like the 7, 8, 9, and 10 of a season and have no problem understanding what's going on because I've just ignored all that relationship build. I've gone straight in at the climax and I know exactly what's going on. There's nothing there. That fluff, the 7 episodes of fluff is completely I can understand.
Oh man, you could say that about everything. What about the Mandalorian and stuff like that? It's all sort of kind of his building up his relationship with Grogu and stuff. Yeah,
there's a story in every episode.
I know, man, but you're doing yourself a mischief there. You're doing yourself a big mischief because it's not. I understand, like, having watched series like The Walking Dead and things where I could watch the first episode, the middle episode, and the last episode and be happy enough with it because the rest of it is just garbage filler. You know, it's just sort of, you know, it's just I've been through the trauma of watching The Walking Dead where it just got so formulaic and so sort of boring that I was literally not sort of the last series that I watched. I wasn't even really watching. I was doing other things and I had it on in the background. And then basically when the good episode came out, which there was like 3 a season, you sort of kind of watched it and then that was it. But you didn't really care because the other ones is about stuff that people had no real matter about this. Whereas with Cobra Kai, it's always about a main character. So it's either about Johnny or it's about oh God, Larusso. Fucking his name.
How did you forget Danielson?
Yeah, Daniel Larusso. Danielson. Or, you know, it's about their sort of kind of relationship with the kids and the different sort of kind of interactions with the kids. And it's, you know, what I like? It's a series about redemption, but it's a series about redemption and how people can turn it around. But it's got that angle of how, yeah, you know what? If you can redeem yourself, but some people just are bad and won't redeem themselves. So Kreese is like the ultimate bad guy and stuff because he's just like, you're like, yeah, this guy's going to turn his shit around. You know what? He's got that sort of kind of soft edge for Johnny and stuff where he's just like, you know what? I love this kid, but he's a fucking shitbag and stuff. And it turns out that he's sort of, you know, it's all sort of, you know, Machiavellian sort of, you know, machinations to try and get his way out of jail and stuff. It's awesome, and you need to watch all of it to sort of get that sort of angle and stuff.
I will say one thing for Cobra Kai, and that the choreography is amazing. Yeah. I say this as someone who does kung fu, and yeah, that choreography. There's no snap cuts. There's no kind of like, oh, quickly pull the hoods up so you can't see the faces so you can get the stuntmen in. No. These people are doing some fantastic karate, and it shows. And the way they kind of, you know, shoot the scene so you know exactly who's going where, what's going on, and you kind of build up these rivalries within each kind of fight, where.
But you wouldn't know about that, Pete, because you know what you've missed.
No, I'm talking within the fight themselves.
I know, but exactly. But you've missed out, right? So did you know when the episode, right, where I think it's the last episode, which you would have seen because you ignored the other ones, where they all sort of kind of they say protect the egg. Which did you notice? Where was that from?
That was from earlier in the at the very start of the 5th season.
No, it wasn't, Pete. No, because you didn't watch it and you don't know what's going on. And
well, you just
you did because it was all about them working together, and it was what's the name of I'm so bad with names. What's the name of his rival from Karate Kid 2, who's the bad guy who turns good? He has him over Japanese fella.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yes.
Chosen. Is it Chosen? Chosen, yeah. So he basically gets them all together, and he's just like, he gives them all an egg, and he basically says, you know, you need to protect this egg from me, and I'm going to destroy it, and you have to sort of kind of make sure that I don't kill, I basically don't destroy these eggs. And they all run off and they do things themselves to try and sort of kind of protect the egg, and they do all this stuff. And then they realize that if they band together and they all put all the eggs in one basket behind them and stuff, and then they take turns to defend against him, then they can protect the egg. And that ties in with the fight at the end where they got the iPad and they go, protect the egg.
That did not tell me anything about the story going forward. All it told me is that to protect the egg. Fine.
I know, but it's just, it's something, you know, you've missed out. It
was a story that did not need to be told because it was focusing on the climax.
I know. No. You can't say that, man, because you're like, there's so many series where there's stuff where you're building up. It's like the relationships between Johnny and Daniel and Chosen and, you know, Kreese and all these things. You've got all these other things going around and seeing what's happening. You know, his time in jail and how he had what's the girl? Oh, it's names.
Tori.
Yeah, Tori was in. You know, he used her as basically.
Yeah, I watched a bit of the episode. Got exactly what I need to know. Yes, Tori was helping John Kreese. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. If it was a really boring long series, I could understand. But it's 10 episodes, man. 10 episodes.
I will say with this, there's so much good stuff going on. There's so much great television at the moment that, you know, even watching a 10-episode series is a massive time sink because there's so much good stuff. And also, I'm married with children. So again, it's just
marriage, love,
exactly. And marriage. That's important. And but yeah, it's in fact, I can watch it and know exactly what's going on. That's all to me. But like I say, the choreography is amazing, and my hats off to the choreographer, the stunt people, and the cameraman for some fantastically shot fight scenes. I mean, you look at something like a good example is Iron Fist. Those are terribly shot, really, really badly shot, and just confusingly done. Partly because Finn Jones is not trained in martial arts. It didn't bother. He just didn't try, and it really showed. Here, they're really getting up close, doing it incredibly well, and choreographing exactly what's happening within that fight. And it kind of the combined drama within the fight as well. You the snapshots of dialogue, and really, really impressed with it.
Well, you wouldn't know that because you don't watch the whole thing. You missed out on Miguel and his stuff with his father and all the stuff with Johnny coming down. With,
what impact did that have on the final stuff at the end?
Because it's about his relationship with Miguel and the other guy who I got the other sort of kid who's not who's his son, Robbie. Yeah, getting these names.
Right, Matthew, time for a timeout. Timeout.
I can't believe it, Pete. I can't believe it.
I think for me it's also like there's this rivalry between the different clubs. I mean, I get it, like it is a TV show, and there's some dramatization, but like I've been doing kung fu now, admittedly on and off for 20 years. We definitely rather than any other clubs. I could show you of that. It's a very friendly competition.
I'm just trying to think, right? It's like it's like you just skip to the end of Indiana Jones and the Indiana Jones or something, and you're just like, you know, well, I know what happened. I don't really need all this stuff at the start because the end doesn't really change. It just is what it is and stuff like that. So it's like you going around, I'm not going to watch this film because I'll just skip to the end and see what happens. I mean,
I could not do that with Tenet, which I recently watched.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't do that because.
But I bet you've watched all of Indiana Jones.
Of course, because that's fun.
Yeah, but you don't know about Cobra Kai because you've not given it a chance.
I did. I watched the entire first season of it, God, and it's like, no, I didn't need to watch all that. I could just watch the flight and did that and find it works quite well.
Right. Anyway,
I know.
New subject.
Next season, Matt, you watch the final 3 episodes and you tell me how.
No, Peter. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it properly because I can't believe you just watched the last 3 episodes.
Try before you deny, Matt.
No. I refuse to. I only do that in series where I'm losing interest in them and stuff. And Cobra Kai, I'm really enjoying. So
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, God. Can't believe it, man. Can't believe it. Right, anyway.
Anyway,
after
shall we go on to Lord of the Rings?
All right, yes. So, what are your views on that, Jon Jo? Me and Pete had a good long conversation about it last week.
Do you know what? I've got to admit, when I watched the first episode of Rings of Power, I felt quite bored. It was really slow for my liking, and I was like, "Come on, something's got to happen soon. Something's got."
Just wait till the last episode, Jon Jo, and then you can see what happens, because that's what Pete does.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Just don't watch all of them. Don't waste all that time. Wait until the last. Tell you what, Pete. Yeah, you don't need all these episodes that are watching at the minute, Pete. Just watch the last episode where they have the big fight, and then you'll be fine. That's all right. Don't waste your time, Pete. Don't watch these stupid things on TV. Just watch the last episode, and you'll be all right.
Might have touched the river, I think.
So we're finally witnessing Matt's breakdown.
I can't believe it. It's like I don't watch them. I just watch the last episode. God.
But you know, from episode 2 onwards, I found it really enjoyable, and for one thing, which I was quite worried about, it looks fantastic.
It is beautiful.
You've got to experience it in full 4K goodness, because the detail it looks so beautiful. Every shot is just amazing, and even like the actors and you got the girl that's playing Galadriel, I think is really good. Yeah. You've got the young Elrond, who is actually quite enjoyable, and was almost going to be played by Will Poulter if he hadn't pulled out of the show. Mm. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking the dynamic. I'm liking the orcs as well. They've really made the orcs a menace in this show. They actually do feel scarier than they did in the films. So I'm quite enjoying it. I am going to watch the whole series through, because I want to see what goes on. And I've kept my Amazon subscription. I feel like I've partly paid for this series, so I might as well watch it now.
Yeah, it's a slow. It's been a slow. It's building up the story, and there's it didn't sort of blow me away. It's very beautiful. It is very, but you can tell they spent a lot of money on it.
Those transition shots from the maps to the landscapes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah. I mean, those 5-second sequences would cost the same amount as an episode of another series completely. Yeah. Just 5 seconds would cost another series of any other show easily.
So it's just a build up. There's a lot going on. It's sort of kind of bringing in characters and stuff like that. Though from which I was watching a TikTok video and stuff, and I didn't realize this because again it's been a long time since I've read the Silmarillion and stuff. But there's a lot of characters who are being jammed together. So like Isildur and his father Elendil and stuff like that. They are not actually not them together, but some of the other characters aren't meant to be in it together because there's like hundreds of years between them and stuff, but they don't want to have lots of small parts and then people dying and then having new ones and stuff. So they're basically shrinking the timeline and sort of jamming a lot of stuff in. So you've got a lot of it together, which
what I call streamlining.
Yeah. So they're streamlining it, which I actually, because again, it's easily 20 odd years since I read Silmarillion and stuff, but I was like, yeah, that sort of makes sense. It doesn't sort of bother me. And so it's like some of the stuff they did with Lord of the Rings, the film, there's some changes from the book and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, that sort of kind of made it better in a certain way. And it's sort of, you didn't need that. Like, you didn't really need the Tom Bombadil stuff. You didn't really need the stuff about the Barrow Whites and stuff like that. You didn't need things like that, which they cut out and didn't use. So streamlining certain parts is actually working. And I think with a series which it could potentially be a very long series, like the Rings of Power, having that sort of kind of having these characters to keep people interested and sort of progress the story is quite a good idea. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to how they sort of kind of they end it and stuff. Are they going to go for like a Helm's Deep sort of thing, or is she going to basically, And
then I think the other thing as well, are they going to I know we're talking quite a bit in the future on this part, but are they going to almost do like their own iteration of the actual Hobbit and Lord of the Rings storyline further down the line, or are they going to just stick to this time period?
It'll end after, and I can't remember the name of the battle, which we named last week, but I can't remember it. But it'll be the battle. I think it will finish with the defeat of Sauron. And the ring going to Isildur, and the way they're building Isildur up at the minute as being like he's well-meaning, but he's irresponsible, and I think that's sort of kind of building up that he's trying to sort of like be the great man, but he doesn't really have what it takes and stuff. And I think that sort of is probably how they're going to bring him into like sort of.
I think that's how they need to play it. They need to show Isildur as this guy who, he is the heroic figure. He is the person that you'd think you'd be looking to, and then corruption does take place, and then
I was chatting to.
We need that.
I was chatting to Richard Morgan a few days ago about Rings of Power, and he made an interesting comment that was the Rings of Power TV series is a high fantasy setting, but with a low fantasy style. We don't have like massive epic battles or large than life characters. You kind of got skirmishes and very kind of grounded almost, battles. It's not like epic magic.
It's very period drama in certain ways and stuff. The way they talk to each other, especially the elves, the way they talk and things like that seems very period drama as well, in a certain way, which I quite like. The only thing that sort of kind of gets me is the way they pronounce things, the way they kind of really like Numenor, and they sort of kind of roll their R's and stuff like that, and they always have to have that thing going on with the way they speak, and it sort of annoys me slightly. I don't know why, but it does.
I did like Durin in the last episode.
Yeah.
The way he was just, really just kind of manipulating the elves.
Durin, I just actually want. I really check something. I know Durin, but there's something that I need to sort of think. Something popped into my head. Carry on.
Okay, but yeah,
the guy that, I was just gonna say the guy that played Durin. I remember because when I was watching it, I was thinking, I'm sure I've seen this guy before, and it was really, really bugging me because I couldn't picture it. And I remember I actually saw him on stage a good few years ago because he was in that show One Man, Two Governors.
Oh yeah,
and he's bloody good actor. I thought he was fantastic. But it was like one of them things because obviously under the makeup and putting the voice on, I was like, I'm sure I recognise who that is, but it just wouldn't come to me. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, that's him.
Okay, so. Again, if you don't want this, okay. So, I don't know because if you've not read the books,
nope,
you've only had 80 years to read the books.
Okay, right. Yeah. The Balrog is called Durin's Bane.
Mm-hmm.
So the Balrog that Gandalf fights is his name is Durin's Bane. Well, that's what they call him, Durin's Bane. So it's obviously going to tie in. And them sort of getting there, I just realised they're going to fucking get the Balrog's going to appear at some point in time and stuff.
Because, as I understand it, like they told the history of Silvers, which is what Mithril comes from, apparently. And it's like, it's been fought between this elf and the Balrog.
And I love the fact that they used the Balrog model effectively from the Lord of the Rings things. It's one of those things. It's like if it's not broken, don't fix it. And that Balrog was perfect, so good. And I'm glad they kept it because some of the orcs, I don't mind the way the orcs look and stuff like that. But the Balrogs for me in Lord of the Rings, the Balrog was perfect, and so having the same one again was like, yes, that'll be good. But it just dawned on me and stuff. Durin's Bane, that means the Balrog's going to appear at some point, and I was like, yes, this is going to be good. Yeah.
Well, I think the Balrog, like the Balrog's going to be, because like I mentioned, it was explicitly referenced in regards to the Silmaril, but also doesn't it? It's in Moria where Durin is based.
Yes, in Moria, yeah.
Moria, which is, we know what happens there.
Yeah. So, interesting. That's going to be, because obviously, there has to be the downfall of...
That's Mount Moria, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, okay, so there's all of that come through, because there's all of that happens before the Rings of Power. Like, because, you know, again, this is really bad for somebody who's meant to be, you know, knows Lord of the Rings and stuff, but from what the film, you know, Gimli talks about, you know, doesn't act like he knows what's happened in Moria and stuff, but he does in the books. He knows and stuff, so it's just like it's not like he's going there because.
Well, yeah, I think that they need to kind of telegraph that to the audience of the film that when hadn't read the books, and they need to kind of explain that, like, well, how can we tell this to the screen? And you do kind of wonder, hang on, why doesn't this dwarf Gimli know all about these other dwarfs, like the big dwarf cities? Well, it feels a bit odd, but it's a way to kind of telegraph the information to the audience without it feeling too info dumping. Yeah.
So but yeah, it's something I think it's going to be like it's going to be something that will get better as it goes along, and I think when you start watching it back, when other things tie into it, it's going to be a lot better on the second watch as well, because I think people have sort of preconceptions about, you know, for me, I think it's just like, I've watched Lord of the Rings, I love Lord of the Rings, and I watch this new series, and, you know, everybody looks different and things, they talk different, and, you know, it's not what I'm expecting, and therefore part of me is kind of going, oh, I'm not sure if I like this because it's different and stuff. But as I'm sort of kind of pushing away my old feelings about the old Lord of the Rings films and sort of embracing it as it is, it's becoming a lot more enjoyable, and I'm sort of starting to get into it. The fourth episode and the fifth episode are really starting to get more sort of kind of, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm into this. So, and I think it's only going to get better as it goes along and stuff.
Yeah. I want to say one of my favourite bits of casting in the whole series so far has been Lenny Henry.
He's really good. Yeah,
I think he's brilliant in it. He has got quite a good demeanour about him, and he does play, like, you know, he ain't playing it overly jokey, but he does get the laughs in the show. I think, I'm quite enjoying that.
A good Irish accent as well. So
yeah. But do you know what? I can't remember the actress's name, but the one that plays Nori in the Half-Foot, I think she's brilliant. I think she has got the potential to, you know, not just be one of the lead cast members of the show, but when you see a certain actor or actress in a TV part, you think, you know, this is hopefully the start of something big. I reckon she's going to be one of these actresses that you're going to see appear everywhere in the next few years. If anything else, I think the acting's brilliant. Yeah,
we had been talking about last week how I was just like, you know, the stranger who's fallen from the meteor and stuff, and how that can't be Gandalf. It can't be Gandalf because he doesn't appear until the third age and stuff like that. But because they're sort of squishing things together, it could be one of them. It could be one of the is it the Maiar? One of the
Blue Wizards.
The wizards, and that is a potential, or it might not be Gandalf, but it could be one of the, like we said last week, it could be one of the Blue Wizards who sort of kind of you don't hear about in the Silmarillion and stuff. So that's interesting.
I think they need to make it a character that's not really had much screen presence before. So just do it's Gandalf or something like that. I think it'd be a bit lackluster.
Yeah. You agree. So it would have to be like, it could be one of the wizards that we don't know about, because
it might be just if it was Sauron.
I don't know if it could be, because
Saruman.
I think if it's
Saruman.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think it's unlikely, but it would be interesting if it does. And what would it be that kind of, what event happened to turn Maya to Sauron?
It was the Palantir, though, isn't it? Because it shows that basically, his because he got in the Hobbit and stuff. You got and so he sort of still Saruman the White. And it's just because his use of the Palantir has basically corrupted him because he's basically looking through Sauron's eye, and that's what sort of kind of laid him low. So I think that's what sort of kind of edged him in that direction and stuff. But yeah, I guess it could be if it was him.
What's the character of the? There's someone I remember from quite early in the Lord of the Rings. Is it Manny or Manway? I can't remember how you pronounce his name exactly.
Yeah.
But I was thinking it could possibly be him.
Manway.
I don't know the character.
Just because he's supposed to be the he's if I remember correctly, he's supposed to be like the mightiest of the mighty. He's supposed to be like almost like the one that first finds out about Sauron being evil, and I think he gets tricked by Sauron at some point, and could potentially lead into.
He's the so there's the Aenir who are basically, so you've got Eru Iluvatar, who is God, who's basically the god. Then you've got the Eru, who are not Eru, the Aenir, who are the kind of demigods. So they are the ones that sing the song that create creation. And Manwë is their leader. Effectively, he's like the king. He's the king of the Aenir, and he's Melkor's brother. Yeah, I don't know, because again, it's been so long since I've read Silmarillion. I'm not sure. I don't think.
But like I say, because they are streamlining a lot of it as well, they could possibly pick from different corners of all the Tolkien text, and they're going to make a story that they believe is going to work, whether or not it's 100% following what you've read before in the books. As we've seen, they do. There are shortcuts, there are differences that are made within. Look at the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogy. There's definitely some massive changes that take place in them. Hobbit in particular. How do you make 3 films out of one story?
Badly.
Very badly, yes. But I think I don't mind if they borrow from different corners. If they can make a compelling story and it makes sense with what they're putting together, yeah, I'm all for it. And if they do decide to bring in Manwë as the stranger, I wouldn't be against that.
Well, it could be a Maiar, because as much as I don't think so it says here, so Gandalf was one of the 5 Istari sent to Middle Earth by the Valar in the Third Age. So the Istari are the wizards, but he's also, I think he's also a Maiar, which is like a heavenly spirit sort of thing. So
an angel, basically.
Yeah, so they could, I guess they could, because it's Maiar. The Maiar are sent to help defeat Melkor, so he could be a Maiar, and they could sort of tie it in with that. So the only thing that sort of kind of ties towards Gandalf being the stranger is his sort of kind of powers are light and fire, and this guy's got that sort of kind of fire thing going on, though the ice thing I'm not sure about.
And also he did interact with some fireflies like Gandalf did at was it Two Towers?
No, he was obviously in the Two Towers. No, was it the Two Towers?
No, it wasn't in it.
Was it the Lord of the Rings? The Fellowship of the Ring, when he's up in he's in Orthanc?
Yeah, and escaped aboard the Eagle.
Yes. No. Yes.
Yes, because
that would be Fellowship of the Ring then.
Yeah. So
because
with that moth, that big moth thing, But then is that being too obvious? Is it them wanting you to think that's it, and then it be somebody else?
Misdirection.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be Sauron.
Saruman.
It could be Saruman, I guess, but I think it could just be a Maiar. So it's like they're sort of like, because the Maya are obviously going to have similar sort of powers and things like that. So maybe it is sort of like, it's sort of kind of it could be Gandalf, but it's not. But it's kind of similar to. You also got to think about sort of legal things.
Yeah.
So they may not have they may not
rights to it.
The rights
For how
to
much
these things.
they've paid, they must have rights to basically every single character that's ever existed.
No, apparently
So
not.
there's a reason why they are making the Rings of Power the way they are. It's to avoid the whole copyright issue, well, the whole rights issue of hobbits, of Gandalf, of Bilbo Baggins, of Frodo Baggins. By setting it in using some really as a source, they kind of get around a lot of those rights elements that would bog them down otherwise.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to money.
Yeah, it all comes down to money. Okay, we've been on for about an hour and 20. Before we go on to our final pop quiz section, is there anything else? She-Hulk. I guess we haven't talked about She-Hulk.
Yeah, really enjoying that. I mean, again, it's something we mentioned earlier in relation to Star Wars. She-Hulk and the rest of the Marvels shows each one is very different in genre. They're all not just pure comic book superhero films. Oh, sorry, TV shows. You've got like One Division, which is an examination of grief. You've got A Vulcan Wills of Soldier, which is a political thriller, in essence. You have a sci-fi adventure that is Loki. You have, and now you've got a fun, very female-centric lawyer show in the style of Ally Beale. And it works. It really does work.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've got a load of people moaning about it, and I'm just like, just watch it for what it is. Just watch it for what it is.
I think because people don't realise it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. It's supposed to be a bit silly. In particular, there is a great line in episode 2 when Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is talking about the Abomination. He goes, "Look, I was a very different man then, literally." And then like Tatiana Maslany has that little wink to the camera. It's like, yep. He was a different man back 14 years ago. He was Edward Norton back then. But just things like that. I like little jokey bits.
And also again, the humour never overwhelms the story. I mean, there's kind of absurdist elements such as Tatiana kind of copyrighting She-Hulk's name and exploiting it, and kind of really just kind of maxes out on the absurdist element. But that is something that can happen to copyright, and protecting someone's identity is a valid thing, and it's branding and marketing. But one of my favorite lines, and I'm going to horribly misquote it here, but it's in when Bruce Banner, played by Mark Ruffalo, says to says like the baseline, your baseline triggers. So your triggers are anger and fear, and like turns around and goes, anger and fear, the baseline for all women everywhere. So I mean, it's telling it's mixing good points, but it's using the narrative tools of She-Hulk to tell them very, very well.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm really enjoying the show. I think it's a bit refreshing compared to some of the very serious stuff we've had of recent. Moon Knight was there was some fun elements, but there was a lot of supernatural, some very deep elements in that. We've had Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was very political, some dark themes through there. One Division, very beautifully shot, but as you say, that was a series of grief, which was amazing to see. But then we've got this show now, which is opening up the idea to mixing about with some characters. It's bringing out some really fun moments. They're not afraid to tease the audience a little bit, have a little bit of a wind up now and again. If you watch episode 6 of She-Hulk, you will see why it is fantastic. And if you think that is not a good little twist, you are wrong. It is absolutely brilliant. And if you had your hopes up, that is your own fault. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I think it's brilliant. I'm looking forward, because there's only 3 more episodes this series. And I'm really hoping that they're going to really push it out for the last 3. I want them to continue the humor as they are, but I want them to really get the focal point of where they're going to go next. I think they are going to have some of this tying into a certain person that was confirmed to be in the next Captain America movie. I reckon we're going to see him in the show in She-Hulk at some point soon. That's going to have a few ties to that. But yeah, I think I like the humor. I like the laughs. I like Marvel when it is a little bit serious. But come on, for 9 episodes, let's just have a bit of a giggle.
And also, it's like would we like 5 different shows, all basically in the style of a political thriller like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it would get boring very quickly.
It's okay. It's okay, Pete, because you know how to get past that because you just watch the last episode and then you're all right.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch the rest of that. You don't need to get bored. Just watch the last episode.
Yeah, if you did do that, I would probably just skip all of them and just watch the episode. But no, they're kind of doing different genres and coming to a different way of telling these stories, which is to be commended.
Still can't get over it, man. Still can't get over it. Just like, oh God. Well, okay, so one sort of recommendation just before we move on and stuff. But if you've not seen Dharma, the Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix, watch it. It's kind of uncomfortable to watch, but it's really good. Like it's got so many different angles to it. Like it's all about the mental health. It's about how parents can fuck up their kids, how sort of like certain things can sort of there's a lot of ways you've got to think about it. It's like, did the mother fuck him up, or did the father fuck him up? Did both of them fuck him up? Was he just born like that? You kind of feel a bit sorry for him in certain ways and stuff, because he literally was just had such a bad upbringing and stuff. But then you're kind of going, was it always there with him and stuff? The way he acts and stuff, it's like he is sort of, it's so good. And then there's the other angles about race and how the police were ignoring people of color who were complaining about him and saying his room, he smells, this smells, and one of the victims, basically they could have saved him, but they didn't. They let him go back inside with this kid and he got killed. And there's lots of stuff. There's so many different angles to it, and it's just really good. It's emotionally taxing in certain ways, and it is quite graphic in certain ways as well, but really good. Really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I binged it in like 2 days. I watched most of it in one night and then carried on the last 2 episodes. There's 10 episodes of it, and yeah, definitely worth it. The guy who played Quicksilver plays Dharma, Jeffrey Dahmer. What's his name, Jon Jo? You're good with names.
Evan Peters.
Yep, that's him. It's really good. Really good. Yeah. It's just sort of, but yeah, the whole thing's just, yeah. You can see.
I get known as just the name guy. Oh, you know it.
Man, well, you're like the complete opposite to me, because I struggle with names. Like I can see them physically in my head and stuff, but I just can't. I can't get them out of my mouth. But you're one of those encyclopedias that sort of know you're like George, all the names.
I know what I am. Yeah. I know what I am. I'm just fucking weird.
Yeah, you got all the names. But yeah, definitely you should watch it. Really good. It is slightly bleak though, so if you don't want to watch something that it's if you like those true crime type things, then you'll enjoy this. But yeah, it's really well acted. Like really well acted, and there's so many different angles to it, which makes you sort of kind of think about the whole thing, and think about mental illness, thinking about sort of the way people react to these things. There's bits in it where like he's in jail and there's like people who are sending him letters saying he's a hero and trying to get his autograph and things like that, and how people react to these things and stuff, and it's just like really good. Okay. After that recommendation, we will finish off with our last section. So, for all of you who don't know, we do a little pop quiz sort of bit at the end where we have 60 seconds to name a character from some sort of geeky franchise. And so we're going to start with Jon Jo, because we've not.
I've got one already.
Right.
I'm all set.
Right through 1 minute. Let me get a stopwatch started. Watch. Right. Okay. So, what are we going for today, Jon Jo?
This is going to be from the realm of Marvel.
Okay. So, Marvel, 60 seconds. Go. Films.
Yeah, they're in the films.
Okay.
Okay, are they in the comics as well?
Yeah, film and comics. Yeah.
Okay, are they an Avenger?
No.
Are they in the Avenger films?
No.
Are they a hero?
Oh, sorry, Pete. What was that?
Are they a hero?
No.
Are they a villain?
They are a villain.
Okay, are they based on Earth?
Yes.
Okay. Are they in a TV series?
No.
Okay, so they're based on Earth and in a film, and one of the bad guys.
They're one of the bad guys.
Okay, are they in one of the Iron Man films?
No, not an Iron Man film. No.
Okay, are they in a Captain America film?
No.
Oh,
actually, no. At this moment, no.
Okay, so
I might have given it away.
All right. Okay, so last question each. We have, in the films, not a hero, not in the Avengers, not in the Iron Man films, not in the Captain America films, though you are hinting towards them potentially being in a Captain America film.
I think that might give it away.
And he's a villain. Okay, so oh god, my brain's gone completely blank now. This is going to be a really annoying one, isn't it? Okay.
Thanks.
Oh my god, my brain's gone completely blank. I can't even think of a question.
Has it been in the Hulk films?
Yes.
Ooh.
That's been in the Hulk film.
Right. Is it? I'm forgetting his name again.
Oh, is it going to be? Is it going to be? Is it going to be Red Hulk?
No, not
is
Red
it going
Hulk.
to be the one that was in the second episode of She-Hulk?
No.
Oh.
No, because I said only in the films. No, so the person I was thinking of was Samuel Stearns, aka the leader, because he was in the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And he shall be the villain in the new Captain America movie.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Well done.
All right. Yep. Then. Yep.
And it being reprised by Tim Blake Nelson. So they are slowly making the 2008 Incredible Hulk film canon, whereas for ages Marvel were almost like just washing their hands on it. But it's almost like they're bringing everyone back now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, apart from Edward Norton. So.
Okay, Pete, what have you got for us?
Okay, Marvel again.
Okay.
Oh.
So
okay.
Marvel. All right, we're not like because last week we did like comics and stuff like that, and we were both sort of big time clutching at straws and stuff. Is this isn't really sort of obscure comic book characters and stuff, is it?
Oh, come on, Matt. Come on.
Let's just
get this over with.
Oh, all right.
You're
going to have to. I'm not going to get this then because my comic book knowledge, especially in Marvel.
I'm going to do my best.
Okay. All right. Okay.
This.
So, Marvel, 60 seconds. Go. Comic books?
Yes.
Are they in the MCU?
No.
Right, okay. Are they in the Sony Marvel films?
No.
All right, okay.
Are they in any films?
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
See, this is it. He goes from really, and then he goes from really super obscure.
Have they been in a live action TV series?
No.
Oh fuck! All right, that's me going.
Have they got powers?
All right.
Have they got powers? No.
No,
well, not really.
Are they a good guy?
Yes, mostly.
Mostly. Okay, it's not the Punisher, is it? Like that's films. He's got films, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got films.
Oh, I'm really struggling there.
See, this is it, Pete. This is it. When you go obscure comic book characters with guys who aren't comic book nerds.
Have they got a comic book named after themselves?
Yes.
Sorry,
okay.
That's 60 seconds. Okay. So, comic book character, good guy, not in any films, doesn't have superpowers.
Did we establish if it was a man or a woman?
It's a man.
Man.
And a man.
I'm going to guess. I've got one guess. Go on, Matt.
Not always, but yeah.
Right. Go on, Matt. Do you want to have your guess first?
I don't know, man. My comic book knowledge is pretty abysmal, if I'm going to be honest. Unless you're talking... I'm clutching at straws. Is he a mutant?
No.
Fuck. I was going to guess Captain Britain.
I did that last week. I said Captain Britain last week. He's like, no. Who did you say it was last week? Who was it?
Darkhawk.
Darkhawk, that was it, yeah. I don't know, man. I haven't got a clue.
Jon Jo.
Yeah, my guess was Captain Britain. Obviously,
Nomad.
I have no idea.
Nomad.
The former Bucky and former Super Soldier.
We're banning comic book ones. We're banning comic book ones
we're banning Pete from doing Marvel.
The only reason I'll say that is like I don't know very much about it. Maybe if you had somebody who was super into comic books, they might be able to whittle it down. But there's so many options for comic book characters that you could literally go on forever, and just 60 seconds is just not.
If you just asked, is it one of the Super Soldiers? Yes, and that would narrow it down massively.
Yeah, don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Pete and his logic.
Yeah. Well, we could just skip to the end of the quiz, Pete, and then you could just give us the answer, and then that would be it. We didn't have to waste the time with 60 seconds. Because...
Anyway, Matt, come on, your turn.
Okay, I'm going to go for. I feel like I should stick it to Pete and go for something really obscure, just so like. But then it's not going to be interesting for other people. I'm going to go for.
Ooh.
I'm going to go for.
I like how you lead this segment, but you don't actually have one in mind.
I know, but it's just I was going to go for a generic one, but I'm trying to think. Oh, I'm going to go for Cobra Kai. I'm going to go for Cobra Kai.
Okay.
That's all right, Pete. You've watched them all, so you should know.
Okay.
Right. So wait, bear through 1 minute. Cobra Kai. 60 seconds. Go.
Are they sensei?
No.
Do they appear in the films?
They are not in the films.
Okay. Are they a student?
They are a student.
Are they male?
They are male.
Okay. Are they related to one of the senseis?
They are not related to one of the senseis.
Okay. Have they been both in Miyagi-Do and in Cobra Kai?
Yes.
Okay. Are they a student at the school?
They are a student, yeah.
At the school?
At the school.
That's what I mean. Okay. Is it Hawk?
It is not Hawk.
Okay.
Is it Robbie?
It is not Robbie.
Is it Mike?
It is not Mike.
We're just going to just name each one over and over.
Yeah.
Is it Miguel?
Yes, it's Miguel.
I was running out of names. I couldn't think of his name for a sec.
It is.
To be fair, I've only watched the first 2 seasons, so I was really struggling.
Well, you don't need to now, Pete. No, mate, you don't need to now, Jon Jo. You can literally just skip to the end.
Yeah, I watched the last 3 episodes of season 5. Yeah.
Yeah, it plays to be fine. Trust me. I mean, I was naming them off just fine. Wasn't I, Matt?
But do you know what?
God.
Do you know what? I, to be fair to Pete, I did that a few times when the Marvel series dropped on Netflix. Remember when the first series of Daredevil came out? Because someone said to me, "Oh, Daredevil isn't in his outfit until episode 13." So I went, "Oh, let's put episode 13 on straight away." So I knew at the end, and then I was like, "Okay, now let's watch the whole series." But,
to be fair, though, with the Marvel Netflix shows, they really needed to cull down their episode count to about a third. A third, you could easily call a third of those episodes, and it would have no problem.
That's why they did that for Iron Fist season 2. They took it down from 13 to 10, which did really help a lot.
It was a much better story for it.
Oh yeah, especially when they actually made Colleen Wing the Iron Fist. That was definitely the right direction.
And then they cancelled it, which is just God damn it.
Yeah, well, they tried.
All right, I'm going to go for one more here, and I'm going to do Marvel. I'm going to do Marvel again. It's not the comic book iteration of this one, so don't go ask me loads of massive questions about the comic book. It's going to be based on the films and Matt's sort of kind of knowledge of the films.
Well, that saves one question.
Yeah. Okay. So, Marvel, 60 seconds. Go.
Is it Coulson?
It is not Coulson.
Okay. Are they a hero?
No.
Are they in the Avengers films?
No.
Okay.
Are they in any MCU films?
Yes.
Are they in the Iron Man films?
No, whoa. No, they're not. They're not in the MCU films.
Are they in the Sony Spider-Man films?
They're not in the Spider-Man films.
Are they in the Punisher films?
Nope.
Are they in the Marvel TV shows?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Are they in the Hulk?
Nope.
Okay.
Is it Blade?
Nope.
Because Blade was its own thing for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it were they in the X-Men films?
Kind of.
Oh, for God's sake. Is it Quicksilver?
No. Okay. One more question, and then you can you can have a guess. One more question each.
Oh, all right. Bollocks. Okay.
So what we've got is he's in the films. He's kind of in the X-Men films, kind of. And I'm saying I'll give you a hint. It's not in the X-Men films, but he is.
I think I know now. Are they? Because this is either one way of saying it or another. Is this person in the Deadpool films?
No.
Okay. I've got one last guess, but I'll let Pete have his guess first.
No, you have your guess.
You're taking Pete's guess.
I'm just trying to remember the name of this one because you had from the is it someone from the New Mutants?
It is not from the New Mutants. No.
Right, I have no idea. Then I'm out.
Okay, Pete.
Okay.
He is a mutant. I'll give you a last clue. He is a mutant.
Okay.
Oh, this is painful.
Yeah. But he is part of the MCU.
No, he's not. Well,
no, he's in the X-Men films.
He's in the. You'll see when I say who it is. I think you'll understand. But
okay. That's Howard the Duck, is it?
No.
Just check it. I have to double check.
Caliban.
Oh, for God's sake!
Logan. He was in Logan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. That's how you go. Obscure without going obscure. You could have got that one if you'd asked the right questions. There you go. But anyway,
because you said like X-Men without the X-Men, I just thought Deadpool. It's got to be something Deadpool. Then all New Mutants.
Yeah, but it's like it is X-Men because obviously Wolverine is a part of the X-Men, but it's not an X-Men film, really, is it? It's its own and stuff. So it's like it's kind of it is an X-Men film because he's an X-Men, but
What?
It's still a strange movie when I watch that because it's not really a sequel to anything either, and they do actually reference and they show the X-Men comics, which is very strange. But I still really enjoy that film.
Yeah, Steve Merchant played him in the film.
And the comic it's based on is actually very good. Old Man Logan.
Yeah, Old Man Logan. That's actually I've actually read Old Man Logan and stuff. This is the thing with me. It's like I've dabbled in certain comics and stuff, but I've never read loads and stuff. So when it comes to comic book knowledge, I'm a bit like, I know basically what I've wikied and what I've read, small amount, and what I've watched, and that's like cartoons and sort of cartoons and films. But when it comes to lore and stuff, unless it's Warhammer and Lord of the Rings and stuff, then generally I don't know a lot about it. Right, okay. That's been highly enjoyable. Some good topics tonight, gentlemen, and stuff. Pete, you are going to go and watch all of Karate Kid.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I just don't have the time to watch all that relationship drama.
I can't believe it, man. I don't believe it.
I'll tell you what. What we're going to find out now is that when you watch the Karate Kid films, you only watch the last 20 minutes.
I'm going to call you on that every time you start going on about something. It's like, Pete, you didn't need to watch it. You could have skipped to the end. It's like that episode. It's like in Spaced, where he's like, skip to the end, and it's like, that's all you need to do. Skip to the end. You don't need to watch anything, because at the end you'll just sort it out. It's okay. Anyway, okay. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's been highly enjoyable. For tonight, I've been Matt Geary, and with me, my co-hosts Peter Ray Allison.
Good night, everyone.
And Jon Jo Cosgrove.
Take care, lovely people.
Bye.